The leaves are changing. The fall is officially here. We are in October now. So you know what that means. It's spooky season. We're watching scary movies. We're going to pumpkin patches. We're getting apple cider donuts and pumpkin spice lattes. Not really. I had one of them. Actually, it was pretty good. But anyways, I figured a fun little video today would not be talking about some of the horror games I'm playing right now, which are great titles, and I can't wait to get to those later in the month. But some of the gateway games that got me into the genre as a whole, into horror games. What were some of the original titles I played as a kid that started this fascination with these scary games I love today? Sit back, grab your favorite snack or beverage, and let's have some fun. Now, before we begin, I do want to be clear, a lot of these titles I'm going to talk about are not actual horror games, obviously, and there's just sections within them that might be a little bit darker or spooky, you know, you as a kid, and obviously I gained some kind of attraction to it or intrigue, or it reeled me in somehow, and I became a little fascinated with it. And that probably led to me watching scary movies and scary TV shows, Are You Afraid of the Dark and Tales of the Crypt, stuff like that. But that's for a separate video. Today we're going to talk about some of the early titles I played as a kid that I consider my gateway games into the horror genre. So starting off, we had the Sega Genesis. And I picked out two titles on here because I played them a lot as a kid. And the first one was actually an arcade game I played, and that is none other than Mortal Kombat 2. Now, when I first thought of the idea of this video, I wasn't even thinking about Mortal Kombat, but if you really think about it, the violence and the gore and the blood and the guts and the fatalities and the darker themes of this game, it totally makes sense. Like, this was probably the first title I played that had some of those themes attached to it. And not to mention just like I said, the violence involved with it too. And you had the movie that was so popular at the time too. Me and my younger brother would actually dress up as ninjas and run around the neighborhood, and we actually beat up one of the neighbors as a kid. Not one of my proudest moments, but we also had another neighbor that called the cops on us because we dressed up like ninjas and were up in the trees in her yard throwing smoke bombs, and she thought someone was literally trying to break into her house or get in. It was just hilarious, and she probably didn't think it was too funny at the time, but anyways, yeah, Mortal Kombat 2. So many great times playing this at the arcade, battling just couch co-op with this in basements. But yeah, I had to put this one on the list because this is probably where it initially started, was Mortal Kombat 2. Yep, so there you go. There's our first game. Next, I'm going to talk about a title I discovered a little bit after that, and it was another series I was big on as a kid, and that was the original Batman game for Sega Genesis. Now, the gothic tones of this one, the music, the atmosphere, the enemies were so creepy and weird. Sound effects and just going through Gotham has those darker, creepy, eerie tones to them. And I remember playing this one, and I liked Batman Returns because that was like one of my favorite movies at the time too. And if you really think about it, some of those Batman movies, especially back in the Tim Burton era, which is this one, they were pretty dark. I mean, you talk about these later titles with, like, you know, the Joker and some of the later titles with Nolan as being dark, but these earlier titles with Tim Burton were creepy and weird too. And this Batman game is super fun too. I need to go back and beat this one. I've gotten like halfway through it, but you actually get to drive the Batmobile, and I think it has the plane too. I haven't made it to that level, but I think you actually get to fly the plane at some point too, which would be really cool. You had all of his gadgets included. This was one I rented over and over from Blockbuster and I was obsessed with the character of Batman and just kind of those darker themes attached to it about losing his parents and being kind of a normal guy that like grows up to take vengeance on just bad people within the city. And yeah, really interesting character. But yeah, the Batman game, I would say, was another title that kind of was a gateway game into the horror genre. And that's going to wrap it up for the Sega Genesis titles. Next, we are going to move to the Super Nintendo, and you're not going to see this one coming. Actually, let's just include both kind of titles with this. Well, never mind. We'll start with the Super Nintendo one first. Super Mario World. I know, such a weird game to bring up in this video, but just hear me out for a second. Because if you really think about it, the ghost houses in Mario and the ghost levels, and even the cave levels, and then those darker environments with the creepy enemies, the little moles, and then the ghost and the ghost house where you'd have to like look, well, you'd have to look them directly in the eye and they wouldn't come towards you. And if you looked away, then they would start chasing you. That's a horror game. That's like my first stalker enemy right there is Boo, which is my favorite character to play in Mario Kart. Shocker. But yeah, I just thought that was kind of funny to think about, is the ghost houses. And when I was a kid, my younger brother was always too scared to play the haunted house levels. So I was always the one that had to step up and beat the ghost levels in Super Mario World. So I thought that was kind of a fun one I wanted to include on here. And the cave levels were my favorite too. I loved going into the cave and taking the alternate paths and stuff like that. And I love the music too, like that doo 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 doo. Oh, it's just so good. Yeah, I thought that was kind of funny, but I have to include Super Mario World because of those ghost levels and the caves. Moving right along to our another Mario title, and that is going to be Super Mario 64. Once again, probably scratching your head at this selection, but the basement of the castle, come on. That's not a horror game right there. You had the lava level. You had the weird level with the spiders that were like jumping around. It was like this weird maze, the hazy maze. Yeah. And not to mention the ghost houses in that level. That was like a legit horror level. The ghost house in Super Mario 64. Remember like the piano section and that weird like carousel? There were just some eerie vibes going on. Not to mention just the castle itself. Like, especially like going back and playing it now, like the emptiness of that castle is kind of eerie in like a weird way. And Mario is like isolated and by himself the entire game, outside of like Toad popping up in like a few sections of the castle, and then Yoshi on top of the castle once you get all 151 stars or whatever it is and get up there. But yeah, the basement for sure. The Bowser sections, I mean, come on. That was definitely a gateway into horror. Continuing right along with more Nintendo titles and staying with the Nintendo 64, we have Zelda Ocarina of Time, and we have Majora's Mask. Now, I don't think I need to talk too much about these titles, especially Majora's Mask. I mean, that freaking moon staring over the town the entire time, and a countdown for the world ending. I mean, my goodness. Some terrifying things in Majora's Mask. Not to mention like how Link responds every time he puts on the mask. He's like literally tortured. And some of the characters in that game just have such dark stories. And in this one too. Not to mention like the Spirit Temple? And that weird like hand thing you fight. that thing is terrifying. Still to this day, it always throws me off when I get to it. So yeah, the darker themes in these N64 Zelda games is definitely a gateway to horror games. Some of the stories of the characters, like I was talking about, are just tragic and so dark. So I had to include the Zelda titles because, yeah, as a kid, I liked those darker sections though. Especially, and I liked Majora's Mask for that reason too. It was like a darker Zelda, kind of like Twilight Princess, which I want to really go back and play like legit because I've only played like bits and pieces of it. But in terms of these earlier titles, those were some fun ones I kind of thought of and some fun moments that got me into the genre, definitely. Now, at this point, we're fully invested. We're watching Freddy Krueger. We're watching Halloween movies and Friday the 13th and Are You Afraid of the Dark and reading Goosebumps. We are in it now. And this is when I discovered a full-on horror addiction. Now, as a kid, I wasn't allowed to have a lot of these titles, so I would go over to a friend's house and play some of my buddies in like elementary school, middle school, and we discovered a little game called Silent Hill that absolutely scared the shit out of me and terrified me. And it's still terrifying to this day. Like that opening sequence, that nightmare sequence is still terrifying. And I had no idea what was going on as a kid. And that section really kind of affected me, scarred me a little bit. I was so scared to play this game. So scared to play this game. And then we started playing titles like Resident Evil, the first one. Now I only kind of dabbled with this one too because this one scared me a lot. Resident Evil 1 scared me more than Resident Evil 2. Resident Evil 2 was the one we probably got the furthest in. Like me and my buddies trying to beat this. And I remember just like getting to the police station a handful of times and seeing the liquor. And I'm just like, nope, I'm good. I think I'm done playing. And then somehow I got my hands on this. And actually, this was the first Resident Evil game I actually owned. And the first one I beat because of the easy mode. And I was so freaking proud of myself. And that's when I was just full on addict. Like, loved these scary games. And this one right here, I want to go back and beat it because I haven't played it in so long. But it was the first scary game I beat. And it's pretty hard too. Even on easy mode as a kid, some of the puzzles, and I remember playing like the mercenary modes afterwards. Yeah, I was just fully in it. But I thought it'd be fun to kind of make this video today. And I hope you guys enjoyed going down memory lane with me, and maybe you had some similar experiences growing up as a kid. You know, what kind of got you into playing scary games, horror games? What are some of your favorites you played as a kid? What did you play too young? I know I'm asking a lot of questions, but I'd like to know these things for sure. So comment down below. Let me know if you like this video. I'm gonna do a similar one on movies, so watch out for that soon. Hope you're enjoying this fall season, getting out, enjoying all the fall activities and watching scary movies and snuggling up on the couch with blankets. So until next time, stay blessed, my friends.